I am Kate at 22F and my boyfriend, which I will call James, is a 24M and we have been together since 2021. We live in an apartment together and live very close to my best friend, whom I'll call Amy. James convinced me not to go to the college I wanted to learn at because he didn't want to move away from family, but I loved him, so I understood. Amy was also telling me to stay because she didn't want to lose me and that she would be so lonely without me, and that broke my heart because we have been friends since 2nd grade. But anyway, me, James, Amy, and the other people in our friend group, which I'll call Mark, Evan, and Lisa, all went on a trip together to celebrate Christmas, so we got an Airbnb to stay at for our week-long trip. We were talking about who should share rooms, and there were like 3 rooms, so Mark and Lisa said they were going to share because they were together, and then Amy said she and James could share because she wakes up early and so does he, so I can get some nice sleep, and I literally gasped because what, like, James is my boyfriend, why does she think she can sleep in the same bed as him? I don't know if it makes me seem insecure, but it rubbed me the wrong way. James said it wasn't a bad idea because he wanted to wake up early to go on walks and that he hated waking me up. I was just shocked that my boyfriend didn't want to sleep with me just because he woke up early, and when we were just at home I woke up early with him. I found it weird but said, no, James is my boyfriend, so me and him will be sharing a room. Thanks for trying to be thoughtful though. Lisa giggled because she later told me that she found it weird that Amy would even try to share a room with James, and both Evan and Mark just found it really odd. When we did go to the coast though, they started acting even more suspicious, and Amy wore this really revealing dress to dinner and asked James how it looked, and he said that it was really pretty. I took my boyfriend aside and started saying things like, why are you acting so weird and why are you letting her flirt? He just said I was being silly and overthinking it and that they were just being funny. But other things they did that made me think they were doing sneaky shit was that she would also be super close to him and tried to hold his hand when we walked, and she was asking him for help putting on a top, and it made me so uncomfortable. One day we were all supposed to be going to a bar, but Amy and James said they were just going to stay because they both felt sick, which just made me feel like something was going to happen while I was gone. But me and Evan, Mark, and Lisa had a good time, but I went to the Airbnb early because I had a bad rash and it hurt like hell. But when I walked to the door it was locked, but I just went to the back door since I thought we probably just locked the front door when we were leaving. But I went in and I heard my boyfriend and Amy upstairs, and I knew they were doing each other, so I just waited outside the door and listened because I was too scared to walk in. Eventually, they finished and got in the shower together, but they didn't leave the room because there was a bathroom connected to the room me and my boyfriend were sharing. I was so upset and I went outside and just cried, but I went to some burger place and waited until all of my friends went back. I returned to the Airbnb and my boyfriend tried kissing me and saying that he missed me, but I just had this hurting feeling in my chest and couldn't look him or Amy in the eye for the rest of the trip. We just went back home last week and I've been distant to him. He has been asking me why I'm acting so weird, but I have been too afraid to tell him or anyone else that I knew what happened. I have been thinking of things to do, and I know that he has an iPad and the iPad connects to his messages, so I could check that soon, but I have just been so hurt and lost because he is such a good boyfriend to me, but I don't know if I love him anymore after that, and I hate my best friend for doing that to me, and I am so upset that I have given so many things up just for them and sacrificed so many things for them, and I would really appreciate some help on what I should do. I'm sorry if this was really long. I just needed to tell someone. I was in a relationship 25 years ago, which I consider my first love. We were going out for about 3 years and were a serious item. To cut a long story short, she started a new job which she loved, and that was brilliant, and I was really supportive of that. But after a few months of working there, the time we spent together was getting less and less, and I thought it was due to her commitment to work, and I was in college, so I put it down to them circumstances and it would get better in time. But as time went on and weeks passed, we saw each other as much as possible, but something wasn't right, and she kept talking about this guy in work, how funny he was, how strong and handsome, how witty and charming he was. So jokingly, I asked her if she fancied him, and she slipped up with, I consider him more than just a friend. I was shocked and asked her what exactly she meant by that, but she covered it over with him being like a brother to her, but I was suspicious after that. Anyway, we went to a music festival together with a big group of friends, and the one night I went to watch a band that she wasn't keen on, so she stayed back at the campsite with her friend. Then I wasn't too keen on the sound of the band, so I went back to the tent, and on my way back I bumped into her friend, so I asked her where she was, and she said she thought she was with me. She is a genuinely lovely girl that didn't have a clue what was going on. Then when I got back to the tent, my trusted, loving girlfriend just so happened to be naked with this other guy in the same sleeping bag. I won't go into exact details of what was going on here, as him I went absolutely mental. Rage, anger, pain, shame are not even words to describe how I was feeling. I was so distraught and heartbroken that I got into the tent and started beating up the guy. He didn't fight back and kept apologizing, but I saw red. I stormed off and she gathered up her clothes and chased after me. I can remember she wasn't wearing any clothes other than a thong. I walked far away with her walking behind me trying to justify what she was doing, so we sat down on the grass far away from any other people. I was so upset and angry, and she sat with me and opened up about this guy and the other bloke she had slept with since she started work at her new job. She apologized and said after she slept with the first guy it was like a snowball effect and she couldn't stop herself. We had a great sex life, but she said it wasn't enough and she loved attention off other guys and she loved having sex with other people. I didn't have an inclining of any of this and had no idea she was going to become a promiscuous person. I was utterly gobsmacked. We talked all night, sat there on the grass, her in her underwear, which instantly became unsexy to me, and she unraveled her truths, which was a big kick in the balls, but at least she was being honest and not any longer down the line. We went back home separately, broke up and went our own ways in life. I got with other people as she did, but the brazen, heartless, brutal drive she had to hook up with other men was a shake-up for me, and out of all the partners I've had since then, that one still stays with me, not just because it was heartbreaking, but because it made me realize that some people are not what you perceive them to be, and that partners can hide loads of truths, and when that trust is gone, it's gone forever. My girlfriend went to her friend's sister's wedding, which was about 60 kilometers away from their college. It was a group of 4 people, 2 boys and 2 girls, including my girlfriend. She told me beforehand that one of the boys often hits on her, and I asked her to stay away from him. She agreed. However, before the trip, we had a fight. During the trip, she drank at night, and instead of staying with the other girl left to stay in a different room with another boy. My girlfriend ended up sleeping on the bed with the boy who hits on her. That entire night, she didn't pick up my calls. The next morning, she acted very quiet but posted pictures with the group in the afternoon, including photos of herself in the mirror in the same room she shared with that boy. At the end of the day, she told me she wanted to break up. I apologized and tried to work things out, but she was firm in her decision. In frustration, I mentioned that the boy she slept with wasn't good looking or successful, which upset her and made her cry. She then said she was drunk, woke up to find herself in that situation, and didn't want me to think poorly of her. Despite the immaturity of the situation, I forgave her because she broke down crying, and I was going through a tough time as my father had recently passed away. After this incident, we weren't physical until after this betrayal. I started sleeping with her after losing emotional connection, and for the next 3 years, our relationship became more about physical intimacy than genuine feelings. Fast forward to today, she went on another college trip, for which she borrowed money from me. Again, she ignored my calls, especially late at night, which made me suspect she was repeating past behavior. Feeling betrayed, I asked her to stop dating and move on. She returned all the money I had lent her and blocked me. Now, I don't feel guilty for the breakup or asking for the money back, but I can't shake off the betrayal and lack of closure. I'm new to this kind of situation and have never experienced this level of guilt or emotional turmoil before. She blamed me for not trusting her, but her past behavior gave me valid reasons to doubt her. She has lied multiple times about being with other boys, but always admitted it out of guilt, which I forgave her for. Whenever I tried to break up or ask for space, she would cry, have panic attacks, and even get medical tests like ECGs to show how much she was affected, making me feel guilty for leaving. For the past year, I've been on medication for generalized anxiety disorder due to family challenges and the loss of my father at a young age. While I don't want her back, the guilt and unresolved feelings still weigh heavily on me, and I want to move on completely. What are your thoughts?